So we're here and we're going to be creating the half lap joint for beneath. Now, very first thing is when you get your two pieces. Now your two pieces are going to be, once again, 52 wide, 35 deep by 216 long. 52 wide, 35 deep by 216 long. Now you need two of these pieces, and of course, first step, masking tape, write your names on it. Now once you've done that, you also want to be checking once again for any defects, like knots, or anything that you don't want in your project. And then you want to look at your pieces and consider what's going to be the nicest side to look at top to bottom. Now, honestly, this doesn't really matter too much because no one's likely to see it, but you always want to have design intent when designing and fabricating things, as well as you want to have design intent when considering materials and the best faces that you're going to be showing. Make sure there's no dints on the ones facing down because you don't want to see that. From there, you get your two pieces, and we're going to be making two of these. So it's called a half lap joint. And so you cut out half timber and the other timber will fit in. And if the other one's cut out, you'll see it'll fit in nice and snugly. So keeping in mind that this is what we're going to be creating here, this cutout there, let's get to it. We're going to start by measuring it up. Now we've got our measurements, making sure that they're correct, and we're going to go find the center. I find by finding the center, you're less likely to make mistakes. So we're going to come across, let's see, at 216, and we're going to use that and measure out 108 millimeters. 108. Now mark near the top, then get your square, remembering to hold it 1, 2, and 3. Now because I've got a little bit hanging off, I can go the other way and go the whole way so that the whole body's on. And you're going to do a dotted line around that one. Now the dotted line, and we can leave the bottom face because we don't need that. The dotted line actually signifies that this is the center. So it's the same on drawings as well. So do that dotted line, making sure it's coming around, or that dashed line, I guess it is probably more accurately. So you've got your line there. From there, we need to mark out how far this piece is going to go on either side. Now, instead of trying to hold this here and go, oh, that's about it, we're going to use, once again, that metal rule, and we're going to mark out 17 on each side. Now, the reason we're doing 17 and not 17 and a half is because, well, we make mistakes. So let's make it a little bit smaller and then just take it down when we need to. So mark out to 17. I'm going to do 17 as my outside edge there. And then we're going to go to the other way and mark 17 from the center. It gets a little bit tricky doing it with such a large texture, but anyway, you'll get the point. Come through, run that through, and continue those lines down the side. Now the point of a half lap joint is you get a lot of glue surface, a lot of area to glue. And that's super nice when gluing. After you've done this, we're going to finish up the marking up, and then we're going to finish this video so it doesn't get too long. But you're going to come through and you're going to use your marking gauge. Now, the very first thing you're going to do is to set your marking gauge to the right depth. So if we know that the piece is 52 millimeters wide, well, we know that the distance between the point here and this there needs to be set at 26 millimeters. Now to set one of these up, you loosen it off, you bring it up, and you're gonna get your ruler. And I find the easiest way first off is to get it to close enough. So I've got that set close enough. It was sitting about, 24. Then without having this too tight, I'm gonna wiggle this back until I can see that the distance between this here and that point there is 26 millimeters. It's 25 and a half, wiggle a little bit further back. And I really do find that's the easiest way to go. Otherwise, it moves always too much. After you've tightened it, always double check that measurement. And mine is sitting at 25 and a half, so I'm just gonna maybe tilt that a bit, and 26. From there, the best way is making sure that your name side is down, because that's it's not gonna be the bottom because they're gonna flip over. So for example, this would be the bottom and then that'd be the top. But anyway, doesn't really matter too much. We'll just move on. Come through, grab your marking gauge. Now you see I've put this in the vise. Now the reason I've done that is so that I don't have to hold everything in my hand. I'm gonna come through, and I like to push it away from me. So I'm starting it on that line. I'm just gonna drag that down. Now, I like to run it a couple of times because I know I'm cutting down and gonna cut out that area. And then what you do to one side, you must do to the other. Now, you will find that one way is easier to do than the other. But come in, push down, and just push that across. Now, if you are having a bit of trouble with this, an easy way to do it is to put your thumb underneath like this, like so. Tip it in, and then using this free hand to just pull it backwards. And take your time, and we don't want to drag it past that line because then it'll be visible. Now, because I want accuracy, I'm going to use a pencil next to come through and just mark that in. And hopefully we can go dark enough that you can see that. Yeah, surely you can. Do that to both sides. Now, you don't obviously have to go so dark. In fact, I'd recommend you don't go so heavy, but I'm just going super dark and heavy so that you guys can see. And you're gonna end up with something like this. Now, before we finish, we need to do one other thing, is just mark that we're gonna cut this section out. So 1, 2, and 3. So we know that this is the side we're cutting out. All right, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And remember, you need to mark up 2 of these. So get both of them done and then watch the next video. Enjoy.